Hello, everybody. John Stettin, and we're going to catch you up to date on the Sport of Kings, and as always, take you past the wire. Hope everybody's enjoying Saratoga and Del Mar. We are, you know, a little bit beyond the midway point in both meets, I guess. Definitely into the crux of things, and I have to say, reluctantly, that both meets have been a little bit disappointing. Real quick, Del Mar, although they've shown us some exciting babies, the quality of racing really hasn't been that great. The wagering opportunities have been so-so. But they haven't had the problems that Saratoga is having. Now, Saratoga, they've got some problems that they've caused themselves, and they've got some problems that Mother Nature has caused. Most frustrating is obviously Mother Nature. They're getting a lot of rain this year, and some years up there, that just happens. I'll be heading up shortly, and I'm hoping that all the rain is out of the way, but who knows? Sometimes the whole meet, you get that. And we've got off-the-turf races. We've got small fields. We've got, races coming off the turf after the pick 4, 5, and 6 has started, which becomes an all, which absolutely destroys the bettors. The other day, actually, there were 2 times in this past week that you pretty much knew the races were going to come off. The early races came off. They left the late races on, but they left the main track only horses in, only to take the races off and make them all races once the pick 4, 5, or 6 had already started. Big hit to the better. Just no sense in doing that. I guess they're trying to keep the handle alive and pumped up, but that's just not the way to go about it, in my opinion. You got to play the hand that you dealt, and that applies not only to us, but to the racetracks and NYRA as well. If you got to take them off and have that reduced field early, you've got to do that in fairness to the bettors. Moving along, there was some talk by the Jockey Club this past week really, about buying distressed racetracks and trying to save them, and that's all good. I hate seeing racetracks closed. Calder was a heartbreaker. Hollywood Park was a heartbreaker. All of them are heartbreakers. But it's a sign of the times. I mean, there's so much in the game that has changed. And that's one of them. We have too much racing to support these tracks. We don't have enough horses. We've got all other types of inherent issues. But that's one thing that they were talking about, and that's great. But the thing that kind of got my attention that they spoke about these huge rebates that these computers and computer players are getting. And basically what they do, most of and this could be a subject for a whole video in and of itself, but they mine the pools for value and make wages that come in the last second, affect the odds, get huge rebates, and racetracks and management readily admit that there's not a lot of growth potential in that area. So basically what they are doing is they are rewarding the worst customers at the expense of the best customers and the bread and butter customers. And that's just not a good long-term business model for success. Does anybody in racetrack management care? Probably not, because they're all doing well and just riding the train as long as it keeps going. When it stops, they'll jump off, hop on something else, and the damage to the game will just be collateral damage. But it's just a bad long-term model for success and growth of the game, and it's a shame that I don't know that they don't see it, but that they don't alter or change that. And I'll do a video or a column on what that does to the game and why. We just want to get caught up on the news, and that's unfortunately part of it. So they are aware of what's going on. They are aware that these computers and syndicates are getting large rebates. That helps them beat the game along with the computer programs. But I will say this: there is a way to beat them at their own game, and you have to adapt and know how to beat the game. And I was never really going to share that and how I adapted and evolved from a pick 6 player to a pick 4, pick 5 player to different kind of player over the years, to survive and do what I do. But I am going to do a video about it, and I'm going to enlighten a lot of people as to my strategy of how this can be attacked, how you can offset it, and how you can, beat them at their own game, come out ahead, and give yourself a fighting chance and an edge. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to PastorWire.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss it. Let's recap a little bit of what we saw this past weekend. The Arlington Million, no surprise. Chad Brown wins 1-2. Robert Bruce, heck of a nice horse. Those Southern Hemisphere horses, they don't all turn out, but the ones that do are really, really good. I'm not deterred by the Southern Hemisphere horses. Robert Bruce certainly looks to be a major player for this year going forward. No knock on him or his performance whatsoever. Chad Brown runs second with Almanar, a horse that's had some trouble and a lot of layoffs, but definitely came back with a strong race in the Arlington Million. Chad Brown 1-2 in the Arlington Million. He upped that in the Beverly D. He ran 1-2-3. Sister Charlie, major force on the turf in the filly and mare division this year. She won it for Peter Brandt, who's back in the game strong. I remember back in the days when he had a ton of nice horses with Leroy Jolly. He's back strong, rolling, and Sister Charlie's one of his better ones, and she came through. 4-star Crook, overachieving New York bred, run a big second, and Thighs run a really nice third. So Chad Brown 1-2-3 in the Beverly D. Now this is great for Chad, and it's great for his owners. Is it good for betting when these horses are uncoupled and there's all this common ownership interest? I've already done a video on that. Most of you know how I feel about it. It's another thing we got to deal with. But like I said, I'm going to tell everybody who's willing to listen how we can overcome, beat this, and stymie everybody at their own game. So fear not. Anyway, that'll be coming soon. The Secretariat. Chad didn't win that. Tom Morley did with a heck of a performance from Carrick, a horse that I believe ran for a tag once, really stepped up, shipped out to Arlington, won the Secretariat, beat Analyze It, who everybody thought was going to be a turf superstar, and I thought that was certainly possible myself, but Catholic Boy exposed him twice with rough trips, came back again twice to beat him. And now he got nailed by Carrick, who really wasn't thought of to be in that caliber, but maybe he is. He's very lightly raced. I think this was only his 4th start, maybe, but so be it. He beat Analyze It, and the tell would Analyze It, and I go back to an earlier video I did. Chad Brown always gets money. This horse went off a big price first time out. And even though he won big, there had to have been a reason for that. I mean, he just went off too long odds. There's got to be a hole or a flaw or a chink in that armor somewhere. And I think that's been exposed in his last 3 races. I mean, he could still be a really nice horse, and he is, but he's not all that we thought he might be. Moving along, Del Mar. Not a lot to talk about there. The best pal, I guess, was the race of the weekend that caught everybody's attention. Instagram did what he was expected to do. He just drew off and humbled that field. We always say don't believe the hype, but the hype's been kind of spot on the past couple of years. Instagram, what could you say? Really, really nice horse. A lot of nice babies at Del Mar this year. He's 8-1 already in the Kentucky Derby Future Book. That's very low for a 2-year-old this time of year. But there's another 2-year-old that's the same price. That's Roadster. And Roadster, Bob Baffert's 2-year-old, who he touted earlier in the year, who also won big. They will probably face off later on in the Del Mar meet. So that should be an exciting race and an interesting race to look forward to. The 4-star Dave at Saratoga. What are you going to do? Voodoo Song loves the spa, loves the weather, loves the water, loves the atmosphere. You just can't get past that horse at the spa. He's tough as nails. He went to the lead, out, got ahead of Heart to Heart, who was almost eliminated on the win end once the other horse was in front of her. Once Voodoo Song was in front of him, but Voodoo Song, can't say enough about him at the spa. Tough to beat. We also had the Saratoga Special, the 2-year-olds at Saratoga boys. Cole Paul won for Jason Service, who's hitting about 18% over there and about 50% at Monmouth. He was hitting about 45% at Belmont before they went to Saratoga. And everybody looks at him in Saratoga at 18% and talks about him like he's in a slump. A lot of trainers would love to be hitting at 18% and be in a slump. So Jason Service is still doing his thing at the spa, not at the same level he is at Monmouth or was at Belmont prior to going upstate, but he is by no means a toss, and he's still doing what he does. So make no mistake about it. When he's live, he can absolutely be used. Again, I've got a really good, video or column coming out. I'm not sure which format I'm going to do it in yet, but it's going to be about how, me as a professional player for the past countless amount of years has approached the game and altered my game to survive and compete and have a fair share and fair shot of holding my own and then some, and doing some damage with these computer players and these rebate players and all this stuff that's going on in the game. The small fields, the uncoupled entries with common ownership. You've got to evolve. You've got to have a plan. You've got to deal with it and play the hand that you dealt and the cards that you dealt. And if you just keep doing what you've been doing all along and not evolving with the game and adapting to these things that we have to deal with, you've got a very slim shot of coming out in the black, and that is the only benchmark and the only thing that matters if you're a serious player. If you're playing for recreational fun, that's great. Enjoy it, knock yourself out. But if you're playing to beat the game and win and come out in the black column and come out strong in the black column, then you've got to adapt and you've got to know what's going on. And, I was never going to really talk about this, but when I do, you will understand why I did, because it's not really going to affect me or what I do, and it's going to help some people, and that's what it's all about. We want to take you past the wire. So subscribe to pastthewire.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for all the support. Watch out for the hats if you like them. We've got a lot of more giveaways coming out with the hats, so if you like the hats and you want one, just participate in the giveaways and you will probably get one. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Ciao for now. We'll be back with more as always.